Hey y'all. Today I was thinking about seed starting, so I thought I'd do a video on, if you're on a budget, it's a great way um, to have a real beautiful landscape for just a little bit of money because, a pack of seeds doesn't cost that much. And you can also get seeds from friends and neighbors who have grown, certain things in their yard. Um, these are Vinca. And actually, they self-seeded here. They've done it the past 2 years. Um, so some seeds, you know, they will self-seed, and if they're in a place where you don't like them, or, the color is not the right color in that area, you can always just dig them up and move them to a different part of your yard, and it didn't cost anything. Because, they came up from the seed that you either had purchased or got from a friend or family member or whatever the year before. And the Vinca is a perfect example of that. Um, I, like I said, I planted Vinca here year before last, and then last year and this year, because they self-seeded, I didn't have to plant Vinca here again. And I have dug some up and moved them to different parts of the yard. I've also had them come up in some of my flower pots. It's kind of funny. They're super easy to grow, super easy to start from seed if you're doing it yourself. And, I'll eventually do a video on seed starting, but this one's just, this video I just want to cover, things that you can, just about anybody, even if you're a beginning gardener, can grow from seed. And the Vinca is the first one. Now we'll move on to the next one. Zinnias are the next one I want to talk about. There's so many different colors, so many different sizes, so many different types of zinnias. From tall, short. You can even buy dwarf varieties. Anybody can start these from seed. They're super simple. You can start them early in the early spring before your last frost, or you can wait and just actually sow them directly in the ground. Water them, and they're pretty much maintenance free. I've not fertilized these at all. This is one variety. This is another variety. This is more of what I think they call the desert kind. These are the big ones. They get tall. I want to say they'll get like maybe 4 foot tall. These have flopped over, but I could have prevented that. The wind blew them over actually in a storm. But they come in all colors, like I said, and they're so simple to start. I mean, you can buy a pack of seeds sometimes at Walmart or even the dollar stores for $1. I mean, 50 cents or $1, just depending on what varieties you're wanting to start. And I mean, something you don't have to fertilize or really mess with once you start it is definitely worth trying anyways. And here's another one. This is the Cleome. The sun is bad today, so I don't know if you can see these, how good you're going to be able to see these. But these are another one. You really don't want to plant these because all of these will self-seed. So you want to plant them where you don't mind that happening, especially with the Cleome, because as you can see, they've got seed pods, big seed pods. So you can collect the seeds, or with the zinnias, you can collect, just the heads once they die, like this. You just take it off and break it apart and get the seeds and put them up till next spring, and you only have to buy them that one time unless you're just wanting specific colors or specific sizes that you don't have. And here's a dwarf variety of zinnias. I cannot remember what these are called. I think I bought them from Swallowtail Gardens a couple years ago. And I collected some of the seeds off of them last year. and started a few this spring, or right before spring. I didn't wait and sow mine directly in the ground, but you can do that with these also. Super simple. They're very pretty, and they're so small. These may get up to 12 inches tall. Okay, here's another one. You might not think about this, but this is a hibiscus, or the hardy hibiscus, or the rose mallow. And this one you can start from seed. I've never tried it. I think it's pretty simple to do. Surprisingly, these have bloomed, and these are smaller. These don't get as big as like the proven winter varieties like that one that gets, 5 foot tall. They stay small if you're looking for something smaller. And you can see there's lots of seeds on it right now. If I wanted to collect them and start them, I for sure could do that. I have had some that actually has come up from seed this year, the first time, and I think these have been here maybe 4 years. This is the 4th year. This one has come up from just a seed that fell off. There's another one. So if you wanted to start these from seed, you definitely could. And they come in, different varieties. They're a humongous flower. They're beautiful. This one's pink. And this one is pink and white. And you can see it's about to open all the way up. And you can see how big it is. And these have actually bloomed on and off since, I want to say, early to midsummer this time. And they've continued to bloom. I'll do a video later just about hibiscus, because there is some problems that come along with some of the hardy hibiscus. Also, I wanted to say the hardy hibiscus are also a perennial, so you don't have to replant those every year. They just die to the ground and come back. And so a lot of the plants I will discuss in this video are going to be annuals, but there will be some perennials like this one. This is a perennial salvia that I started from seed. It's beautiful. It comes back every year and gets a little bigger, spreads just a little bit more, and I love it. The pollinators love it. It was super simple to start. You plant it. I really don't fertilize this. I don't do anything to it, and it's just beautiful. Maintenance-free plants are a plus in my opinion. Gaillardia. This one's also one that you can start from seed. It's beautiful. It blooms from early spring all the way till it freezes it. It's also a perennial in my area. And I'm in zone, actually I'm not sure what my zone is anymore. They've changed the zones. We've always just been here on this mountain a 7. We always said a 7, and I think when I was growing up it was a 7A. And right now we're considered a 7B or 8A. When I type in my address, it has me listed as a 7B, but literally less than a minute from my house, it's an 8A. So I'm assuming I'm an 8A, somewhere, in that, between a 7B and an 8A. But these came back when we were, they're zone, I don't know exactly what zone, but they're pretty cold hardy. And super easy to start from seed, and as you can see, there's lots of seeds on here right now that you could collect. This is another one, and it's not blooming great right now, but it was earlier, and it will be again, over the next couple of weeks. It'll really, flush out and start blooming again, and this is what most people call tick seed. It gets a much bigger bloom than what you're seeing there, but it's comparable to the Gaillardia. It's just a little bit smaller. It's also a perennial, super easy to start from seed, and one that I would highly recommend. Dahlias. Dahlias are another one that's super easy to start from seed, and well worth growing. In my zone, most of the dahlias will come back for us. They're a perennial. When you start them from seed and plant them in the ground, they'll grow tubers. And so the tubers, will come back every year, as long as they're in an area where they're not staying, super wet all winter long, because they don't like that. If you plant them in a, dry part of your yard and you have a more, we have pretty wet winters here, but we also have good drainage, here on this mountain. So the dahlias, as long as we don't have like a crazy, sub-zero Arctic blast during the wintertime, for the most part, dahlias come back for me every year. And these I started from seed. And you can see, they're absolutely beautiful. And it's a lot cheaper to start them from seed than it is to buy tubers or plants that somebody else has already started at a nursery. Coneflowers. Coneflowers are another one that you can start from seed. You may not get a bloom the first year. Some varieties, it'll be the second year before you get a bloom. But coneflowers are super easy to start. You just, from seed, you just collect the seed heads, separate the seed just like you would with a zinnia. And you can also sow these. You can actually sow some of these in the wintertime before spring. And super easy to grow. They're a perennial. They'll come back every year. And well worth taking the time, to sow these. And here's another one that's excellent to grow from seed. Impatiens. These are just regular impatiens. They're super easy to start from seed. You just sprinkle them on top of the soil, and I don't even think I covered these. I don't think you're supposed to. We will do some seed starting and different propagating type videos later over the next couple of weeks, because there's several different things that I'm planning on propagating and overwintering inside. But petunias, impatiens, they come in so many different colors, and look how big they get. They actually get a lot bigger than what most people think if you've never grown them before. Because, if you're buying them from the nursery or a plant, big box store or whatever, they usually come in a 4-pack or a 6-pack, and they're just little bitty. But they get pretty good size. And I love the colors, the dark pink, the hot pink. You can get red, white. There's just multiple colors. They're so pretty and so easy. And you can save seed off of these. They're so simple. I will show you that, maybe in a minute if I can get over there and find some. Okay, I'm going to show you the seed pod on this. Can you see that little seed pod? That one's not quite as big as it should be. The seeds are probably not fully developed in this one. You want it to be about twice that size. And when you go to pull it off, you need to cap it in your hand, because if they're really ready, as soon as you touch it, it pops open and seed will go everywhere. So super simple. Just lay them up, let them dry out, and you'll have tons of seed that you can start next year, either indoors or outdoors. One thing I have discovered, if you're a beginner gardener, you might want to try to consider the first year starting pretty much all of your seed outside. Because even for experienced gardeners, starting seed indoors can actually be a bit of a challenge, because you're having to supplement the light, you're supplementing the water, and once they get big enough, to fertilize. And if you start them too early, they're going to be long and leggy, and then you have to cut them back, so they'll be bushier. I think for a beginner, and this is just my opinion, that it would be so much easier and you would not be as likely to get discouraged, because I think you would have much better luck just direct sowing outside, whether it's in a pot or on the ground or both. Because there's certain seeds, even for me, and I've been gardening for over 20 years, it's just easier to start outside. And so that's just a quick tip, in my opinion, on seed starting. There's so many different types of seed that you can start, yourself, and have a beautiful landscape without having to, spend a fortune. If you're on a budget, you can afford to do that. If I didn't start a lot of my seed myself, I wouldn't be able to have as many plants as I do either. And like I said, if it's a perennial, and there's lots of perennials you can start from seed, and they'll come back for you every year. And then you can collect more seed if you want to. Foxglove is is a great one. It's a biannual. So is hollyhock. They are super easy to start from seed, and they'll bloom and be beautiful, and they'll come back the next year and they self-seed. There's just lots of different ones that you can do yourself without having to buy. Sure, the nurseries sell them, but when you buy those plants that they started from seed, you're paying for the seed that they paid for to start it. You're paying for the pot it's coming in. You're paying for their time. It can be time consuming, especially if you're going in the early spring to buy plants that are already blooming, because that means with a lot of them, they've been growing them indoors. And so they've, put a good bit of time into those plants, and you're going to pay for that. To where, you buy anywhere from 50 cents to, a $3 or $4 or $5 pack of seed, and you'll get multiple plants, and you can save your own seed. And if it's a perennial, it'll come back the next year, and you can still save seed and plant, start more. And so that's just a quick tip from me to you on, trying to save a little money, especially if you're on, a budget, or if you just can't afford to go to the nursery and buy the things that you want. And it'll help keep you from being so discouraged when you look at somebody else's garden and it's just full of plants, and you're dreaming of your garden looking that way, but you don't have the money to do it. So just get you some seeds and go to your neighbors and your friends and family members who have plants and collect some of their seeds off of their plants. And next year, you can start your garden and have a beautiful garden just like some of the ones that you've dreamed of. And so until next time, bye.